Exorcisms, dead lizards, and hilarious injuries is pretty much how my childhood experiences revolving the Legend of Zelda series went, but really some weird stuff happened to me playing Zelda. Well, it's been 9 weeks talking about Zelda news, and to be completely honest with you guys, I'm pretty sure I milked every single relevant topic regarding Zelda Wii U. So instead of milking already milked out information, I decided to tell you guys my own personal experiences with the Legend of Zelda series. So in other words, you guys are in for a really creepy story. Well, where to begin?
From the start.
Anyways, I had a really unique childhood, so to give some perspective, here's a drawing of what I think I looked like when I was younger. I grew up in a very isolated neighborhood. Really, I didn't actually have any neighbors. Anyways, one day my cousin got me a Nintendo 64 along with a Super Nintendo. As a kid, I was ecstatic. I only got 2 games for the 64, which were Smash Bros. And Ocarina of Time. Playing Smash Bros. With my cousin was loads of fun, but when he went away, I wondered about Ocarina of Time. As a kid, I was pretty isolated to most forms of media, so I didn't really know what to expect. I booted up the game as usual and found a file name by the name of I Died Once. I was assuming it was my cousin's save file, so I played it anyways. The save file was in the Shadow Temple, and as a kid, I was just awestruck by the dark atmosphere and the faces on the walls. For some reason, the whole layout of the temple was really interesting to me. So as a kid, I drew a bunch of stuff from my whole experiences playing through the Shadow Temple. You could say this whole event really sparked my interest with the Zelda series as a whole. Anyways, I eventually began my own save file and experienced Ocarina of Time from the start. I was honestly shocked at how in-depth the game was, being that I was relatively new to most forms of media at that time. One thing I really did enjoy about Ocarina of Time is how the game really prompted the gameplay to the story. I know some people really complain about this particular mechanic, but at the time it really pieced the story together. It gave the story a very epic feel. Needless to say, the journey in Ocarina of Time felt very messianic. Anyways, Ocarina of Time to this day is my favorite video game of all time. Moving on to my Zelda experiences, I went to the Super Nintendo. I had Super Metroid along with Link to the Past. My experiences with Link to the Past was really unique. Seeing that it was a Zelda title, I was assuming that it would be really story driven like Ocarina of Time. However, I was in for a surprise. Link to the Past integrated its gameplay with the story. Link to the Past as a result had a really fun and critical thinking inspired gameplay. Personally, I believe Link to the Past is a Zelda game that is aged the best. However, at this point, judging between Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, 2 of the most fan favorite Zelda games, I have noted stark differences. One uses linearity to bolster story along with its own brand of gameplay. The other uses non-linearity to meld gameplay and story together. I really liked both styles, but I wanted to try out other titles of the Zelda series. I wanted to see a nice middle ground that implements the best of both worlds. To give a non-linear choice that would seem linear, however the option of choice is always present that uses the mechanic to bolster gameplay and story as one. Wow, that was a mouthful. However, at a garage sale, I got the original Nintendo Entertainment System along with the first Zelda game. Needless to say, I was curious on how the Zelda formula was first started. Yet again, I was shocked. The player was left to his or her own devices to traverse the world. But this Zelda game in particular had something that other Zelda games didn't emphasize as much on, which is mystery. Things weren't as mapped out on the first Zelda game. Personally, I love this formula since it made the game feel alive. In fact, the overworld felt like its own entity. And honestly, playing through the game, I completely forgot that saving the princess was your whole objective. The game made you play at the moment, at the present, and that's what I really loved about the game. Well, years went by and I eventually got a GameCube, which I may add is probably my favorite Nintendo console. Games like Metroid Prime, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and Smash Bros. Melee really got me into gaming in general. This is where I played Wind Waker, and yet again Nintendo keeps mixing up the Zelda formula in certain ways which I really admired. The sailing mechanic of the game really gave the theme of exploration another go. Plus, I really enjoyed the soundtrack. At the end of the game, I felt really satisfied, but I was still pondering on whether or not Nintendo was experimenting on different Zelda mechanics. As a couple of years went by, Twilight Princess came out and Zelda fans were exploding in anticipation. Twilight Princess in my mind was Nintendo's way of appeasing to Western audiences with a more mature art style. In all honesty, I did love the game to death, but the game was just way too easy. In fact, my first playthrough of the game, I never died once. At first, I thought I was just becoming a Zelda expert, but I found that other players were having the same issue. Twilight Princess had a great story, but it was too reminiscent of Ocarina of Time. And now we come to Skyward Sword, which is currently the latest available console iteration of the Zelda series. If I were completely honest, the story was amazing, by far my favorite in the series. However, the game is rather linear and tutorial heavy. A lot of people complained about the art style. In fact, I complained about it when it was first revealed. But the art style grew on you, and by the end of the game I had no complaints. However, at this point I noticed that Nintendo likes to try new things when it comes to Zelda games. In a way, Nintendo tries to evolve the Zelda series by implementing new mechanics. And very rarely does a Zelda game stick with one set of mechanics for long. In my mind, to this point, development team number 3 wants to implement new development strategies with Zelda games. Zelda Wii U probably won't be an exception, and based on all the information we have been getting, it seems like Nintendo will be trying something new again. And without going into brass tacks, what do you think Zelda Wii U will encompass? Based on all the Zelda games we have seen up to this point, what is the logical direction Nintendo will go for this one? Well, that's a unique question. Well, according to an interview from Nintendo Life, Eiji Aonuma did give some clues regarding the constant Zelda issue regarding story and gameplay. Here is the quote. Looking at the comments on Miiverse regarding Hyrule Warriors, it's been great to see a lot of positive feedback, but one of the things that leaves me with rather complicated feelings is that people are saying, oh wow, I really love the cutscenes in this game. This is better than the stuff Nintendo does. Of course, that leaves me a little conflicted, and gives me a mission now to make sure that the new Zelda game that I'm working on can hold its own in that aspect against Hyrule Warriors. Obviously, Aonuma wants to reinsure Nintendo's standards when it comes to delivering a compelling story. However, this interview implies that Zelda Wii U won't be focusing on story to begin with. After all, Aonuma did feel conflicted. And if psychology has told us anything, if someone feels conflicted, they feel threatened. So if story wasn't paramount in Zelda Wii U, Aonuma wishes for Zelda Wii U's story to be nothing short of amazing. The way Aonuma said that he was on a mission to hold its own in that cutscene portion against Hyrule Warriors speaks volumes of his ambition. So what do you guys think about Zelda Wii U's story? Will Zelda Wii U focus on delivering a more in-depth gameplay, or focus more on delivering a story, or some mix of the two? Personally, I wouldn't think too much on this exact quote, but it does give some insight on Zelda Wii U to some extent. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my video of me rambling on about my Zelda experiences. Next Zelda video I will return to a traditional news format. Special thanks goes to Sosuke Power, Anthony Heitzman, Bernard Brown, and Vampire Space Bear 69 for contributing to this week's episode. Coming next episode. In episode 11, I'll be giving a comprehensive analysis on everything I've discussed so far regarding Zelda Wii U. This episode will be huge. Episode 11 will be arriving on September 15th, next Monday.
Also, if you enjoyed this video, then please check out our weekly podcast series.
Yes, do what Cookie says. Our weekly podcast, The All Night Cast, features guests from other YouTube channels. Our latest guest is Anonymous Gamer. Click here to see the latest podcast featuring Furious Francis from PlayerEssence.com. Anyways, please like, favorite, and subscribe if you're new. Till then, this is the video of the day. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a lot of effort into this particular one, and the thing is, videos are becoming more and more difficult to produce because school recently started. Well, it has started, but it's really getting towards really heavy coursework, and because of that, videos are really getting harder and harder to develop. And Zelda news is still going to be weekly. That's still going to be constant, but I do want to keep you guys in the know. If you enjoyed my other work, then check out the podcast series that me and a collection of other YouTubers have started. And if you enjoy my work, if you like what you see, I guess, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll do a live stream pretty soon, I think on Monday night. I'll give more information when that comes, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I really am. I'm thankful for whatever viewers happen to see my little YouTube channel. So please like if you like this video, and see you guys whenever.